Hey everybody, Dave here. Today I'm going to be doing some more C# practice on exorcism.org. Last time we did phone number, which is where I discovered I was supposed to use regular expressions and just completely missed that fact. I don't know how I was supposed to know that. Today we're looking at Meetup. It says calculate the date of meetups and the difficulty is medium. This could be real bad. So let's go into this and read the instructions. Okay. I have been looking over these instructions, been trying to figure out what in the world this thing is asking me to do. I feel like it's not the clearest in the world, or I might just be dumb. Given some schedule, and what it means by schedule is first, for example, just to make it easy, first or second, perhaps, of some day of the month. What it will also pass in is the day of the week here. So I guess I need to create, it's strange to me that this isn't like a string, but maybe I'm supposed to create an enum. What is going to be passed in here? I need to see that. Is it going to pass in? Oh my goodness. Is day of the week a class? I have to look this up. Okay. Day of the week is just an enum that apparently is in the system namespace. I understand where that's coming from then. So let's go back over here. It's going to pass in a day of the week using that enum, and then it's going to pass in a schedule, which is just going to be one of these, 10th or last or third or whatever. And then they'll have already instantiated the class giving this constructor the month and year. And then I just need to find out what the date is for their meetup, because their meetup is only once a month. I feel like the first place I can start is the constructor. If there are any C# developers watching, tell me if the way that I'm doing this is wrong in any way. Private int month, and I often put this as an underscore, and then private int year. I always forget to put the underscore. And then in the constructor, I set it like this dot underscore month equals month. This dot underscore year equals year. I imagine to simply get the answer, what I could do is do like a sort of loop, maybe like a for loop, and it would create a date time using this month integer and year integer. And then I would just start with a day at day number 1. I determine what day is that. Does that match the day of the week here? And for like 10th, it'd be easy. When I do that for loop, I would start the for loop at 13 and go to 19. Eventually one of those is going to match, and then we return that date. For first, second, third, fourth, last instances of a certain day of the week, we could actually do the same thing. So I can conceive of how this can be done, but it occurs to me that something maybe I should do is start Googling the class that I'm dealing with primarily. So like the DateTime. Okay, so the DateTime is a struct. I still do not understand the difference between a class and a struct. I don't know when to use one or the other. If you know, and you're a C# developer, let me know how, even if it's just a specific scenario, you don't have to have a full explanation. Just go, here's an example of when I would use a struct, not a class, and then the reverse. Okay, these are a bunch of constructors. What I want is methods. I wanted to see what kind of options I have. So I don't see any methods in the DateTime class, at least, that would just go, oh, give me the third day of this month or anything. I don't see anything that simple. There might be other classes we can use to do that, but maybe I should go about this by using just doing the loop method like I was thinking, and we'll see how that goes. Okay, let's go back over here and just start making that. Let's clear this out of here. I'm going to need a way to compare the day of the week. So let's just do a little bit of testing here. Return null at the end, because I know this is not going to pass my test cases, but what I can do is write to the console, DateTime equals, it looks like data table, whatever. Can I type date? Is that a reserved word? Let's do that. DateTime date equals new DateTime. Where is it? Come on. Properties. Day of the week. That's fine. I wonder if I had just looked up day of the week, date time, if it had just come up. I don't want to talk about it. Okay. So it looks to me like this is how we can do our comparison. We can check to see if, DateTime.day of the week equals day of the week dot Thursday. So that's exactly the comparison that we need. Okay, cool. I just need a good constructor for DateTime. I just want one that takes the year, month, and day. Can I do that? Specified year, month, and day. Why is there so many of hour, minute, second? Year, I did that wrong. That should be underscore year, underscore month. And then I can just do like the first day of the month. And then we'll just do, can I just try this? Let me just see that. Put a semicolon, console.writeLine date. Cannot convert null to DateTime because it is a non-nullable value type. Okay, then I'll just return the date. That's fine. Okay, so now we ignore whether or not, oh my goodness, look how many test cases there are. We ignore whether or not we pass them. That's not really the problem. We want to go look at our output. So what we got was May 1st, 2013, and they passed in May 2013, or excuse me, 5 and 2013 whenever they did the constructor for this instance. And that looks like it worked then. So let's put a little loop in here. I think I might be jumping the gun a little bit, but that's okay. For int I equals 0, I less than what? 31. Oh, shoot. Okay, so I was thinking about this for a second. And it occurs to me, you know, not all the months have the same number of days, but I bet that we can cheat the test because we'll always get to the answer before we get an error by trying to instantiate a date time that is outside the date range of that month. That's what I think. That's what I think. So we're going to go I less than, what, like 32? I should do less than or equal to 31. I know this isn't right. Look, we'll come back. We'll make it better. I promise this is not how I do real work. Okay. And then let's actually, I don't know if this is the right way to do this. I'm going to do DateTime, date. I'm going to set this variable here. Oh, but it's still going to complain, I think. No. I should set it. I should set it up here equal to the first day of the month. And then when we increment, we use add days, I guess. I could also just like add a time span of 1 day, probably. Double value. So yeah, that would probably work. I can just do DateTime.add days. Now, I don't know, does this change date or does it return me a new date? And then I have to set it back into the variable again. We'll find out. Date.add days 1. Okay, so first I think what we do is not worry about doing the right schedule. We just go with the first instance of the correct day of the week in that month. And that way we can do our logic, we can run the tests and see if we're anywhere close. Day of the, wait, is it day of week? Day of week equals, can I just do day of week like this? Possibly. And do I return it? Do I want to do console.writeLine? I'm going to say we do an if statement. And if it is true, then we return date. If it's not true, then we add and we loop again. So really what I don't need is this for loop. I could have just done a while loop. That's actually like just as irresponsible probably. But while true, yeah, because then we have less logic. Look at that. Oh, not equal to. Not equal date dot day of the week. Date day of the week? That should be day of the week. Is not equal to day of the week. So while it's not day of, equal to, let's say that it already is equal to it. Let's say it's the first day of that month. That's correct already. Then it will bypass the while loop and it will immediately return the date, which is correct. If it goes into the while loop, it will add the day and then it will evaluate. Let's test this. Oh, right. It's going to infinite loop on me because why would it do that though, actually? Int I equals 0, and then we'll just increment it each time. I plus plus. And then here we'll take this out for now. Comment it out. Just put while I is like less than 32 or something. I guess the first thing I want to know is console.writeLine day of week. And I just want to know what value's in there. And I guess I could just do less than 8 here, so it only goes through 1 week of the month. Console.writeLine date.day of week. And then I have it doing that for some reason. Okay. So Monday was the first one. So that's the day of the week. Oh, it did Wednesday. What? Oh, because like I said, I probably have to do like, take the date, add to it. It returns a new date, which I can set into or use the same original variable of date for that. And now if I run it again, this time it'll be a whole bunch of different days. Okay, you see, I'm a little slow, but you know, I get there. I go there eventually. So I should be able to use my original idea here. So I'm actually going to do console.writeLine here. I would like it to exit. I want to know that it can actually do the comparison properly. Monday is the day of the week they're looking for. We started on a Wednesday, went to Monday, and then it did exit. And so it should technically have, it would have been the correct day of the week if they're looking for the first. So this would have succeeded for every test case that had to do with the first Monday, first Tuesday, first Wednesday. Yep. Wow, look at me. Look at, it's like I can see the future. Now what we have to do is implement the logic of going to here. This is tough. I want a method that will return a number for me based upon the value here. Wait a second. You can cast an integer value to an enum type using the explicit type cast. Okay. I just want this. So I just do it. Do I just do an equal sign? So I can just go like this. Teenth. So we're going to do 12, 0. Yeah. No, 1. We go with what we start with. No, 13 then. I don't think I'm doing this right. The second. So this is going to be 8. I'm going to explain here in a second what I'm doing. 15? Because 7, yeah. 22. And then 29? I don't know if I have those values right. I may have to come back and check them. But here's my thought. I'm just trying to solve the problem. And I have no idea what method they actually want me to go with. After I submit it, I'm going to see the concept. You learned concept. And that's going to tell me what I was supposed to do. What I'm thinking I do for now is I set these values to each of the enums. And then based upon which one of those is selected here, I should just be able to cast to integer and it gives me this value. And then that will tell me what day of the month to start at. I guess we'll just create like another method. Private, we want to return like an integer. Get schedule int. The input will be schedule. Oh, do I just cast it? Wait a second. I should have just casted it. I can just go like schedule. I can just cast it to an integer. Nuh-uh. That's not that simple. Can I just do like int schedule? There's no way it's that easy, right? Because it will create a date for me to start at. I don't need this counter anymore. It's just complicating things. I don't need the right lines. We know that the first one we hit is correct because we're starting at the correct day of the month. Like as far as like if it's a 10th, then you have to start at 13th because it's between 13 and 19. And I don't need this. Don't need this. Don't need my method because all I had to do was cast. Something doesn't feel right here. I knew something did not feel right with this. When you cast, I don't know what I was doing there. You know, I just want to know how much it works right now. I want to know if it passes a bunch of the test cases because I think there's going to be like some outliers that it won't pass for. And I'll have to go back and, you know, kind of like checks for 0 and whatever. Look at that, 85 tests passed. So I think I was right overall. Now, without looking at the test cases, I want to see if I can imagine what could be failing. Oh, last. Now, okay, now that's actually a problem. It just occurred to me. For the rest of these, you can start at a number and increment, I think, but last you can't do that for. You actually need to start at the end and go backwards. Add days. Can you add days in a negative direction? Subtract time span and date time. But there's no subtract days, which makes me think that add days can go in a negative direction. But let's just try it. So this will be incrementer. See, I don't know if it's incrementer or decrementer, so we're going to call it the crementer. Initially, it's going to be equal to 1 if schedule equals schedule dot last. This should be an equals, not an assignment. And then if it's equal to last, then we set crementer to -1. It occurs to me now though that there's a flaw in our plan. If we try to go with the last day of the week or last day of the month, we need to know what the last day of the month is. That means I actually just need to do several things that are special. So let's just give ourselves plenty of room for that. Not this. We'll go like start day. Int start day. I guess what we could do for now, just move this up here. And what we'll do is, maybe this is like not the most efficient use of space, but I'll add 1 month. Is there an add month? Add months. Okay, we'll go like date equals date plus date add months 1. Can I like string these on? Like, can I do add months dot add days -1? And what that should give me is the last day of the month. And then when we do our crementer, it'll be in a negative direction. If I run this and discover you can't do add days in a negative direction, that's okay. We can refactor this a little bit, and maybe it'll probably be more readable. I just think this is hilarious. All right, let's test it. I'm probably missing something though. Did I do something dumb? I feel like I did something dumb. Okay, we passed fewer of the test cases this time, which means that we didn't do something right. Oh, this is a problem. It's not a problem. Is it a problem? It is a problem. We actually need last to be equal to 1. I'm going to probably have to just create an entirely new date here because we actually have to set the first day, or we have to set the day to day number 1, and then why didn't I just do that here? Like I could have just strung this onto the end of it. So we get a new date time based upon the current year, the correct month, but the first day of the month. Then we add 1 month. I would assume that means we get the first day of the next month. Then we subtract 1 day from that, and we get the last day of the previous month, which is the last day of this month. Then our incrementer is -1. And so then we loop over, changing the days by -1 each time. It didn't work. Okay, let's just look at our test cases that have failed, and we'll figure this out. When the first Monday is some day in the middle of the first week, we gave it March 25th. It was expecting to get March 4th, console.writeLine, so it should put date in and day of the week. So date.day of the week as we loop over this. How did it start at the end though? How's that happening? It should be starting at March 1st. Oh, but one thing to note is it is doing like adding days backwards. So somehow I'm messing up over here when I'm either when I'm casting or something I did wrong here. Let's just console.writeLine start day. See what that looks like. One. How is it getting March 31st? Start day is 1, which is correct. It got that out of schedule first. Well, that's something I didn't really think about, is what do you do? Maybe you're not supposed to have two of them. Oh, wow. Is that what's happening? I think that maybe this is turning out to be true, because what it's saying is like, is schedule, which, so this is like schedule dot first. It's saying, is schedule dot first equal to schedule dot last? And it is technically true because both of them have a value of 1. Oh my goodness. How do I handle that? Let's do 0, because that way at least we have them as different numbers. We're going to add that console.writeLine back in, run it again, and see year, month, and day parameters describe an unrepresentable date time. Oh, because it was last, which is 0. Okay, you win. Look, I'm just going to do that for now, okay? I know, look, I'll make a note for you. I know this is strange. Just leave it be. Okay. So I'm setting last 2 because what that will do then is it won't fail now to create a date time using the start day of 0. It'll have 2. It will do March 2nd, 2023, but then it will see that it's schedule.last. It will overwrite that, so it will never matter and nobody will ever know. Ugh. I think we've been going for, it's been 1 hour. 1 hour, 3 minutes, and 52, 53, 54 seconds since I started this exercise. Look, I think we all agree that this has not been ideal, and I need to refactor this. On one hand, it is good that I used numbers with these enums because I don't have that much experience with enums. They're like a little bit foreign to me. Believe that I have literally never done this. So this is the first time ever. I mean, I've casted before, but I've never casted an enum. That's a big step for me. This is not very readable. What's something that's not readable here that I don't like? Actually, it might look just fine, but it might be like extra lines than we really need. I think it'll be a little more readable though. Let's do switch on schedule. Hey, it's me from the future. As I'm editing this video, I see it's extremely confusing because of some of the different ways I went. One of them being that I tried nullable types. I tried to make date nullable and integer nullable, and I just ran into lots of problems with not being able to convert between nullable and not nullable because of the inputs that the test cases give me. So I'm just abandoning all of that. I'm just going to show you on screen what the eventual code looks like that I did write. The code I wrote before did technically work, and I just refactored it to make it look better. I don't know that it looks any better. You let me know what you think. Let me know, is there like a good time to use nullables and not? I don't know. I tried to use them, and I realized I should probably just abandon that. I think that the code we have remaining is fine, with the exception of this possible infinite loop, which can't actually happen unless I break the code. So let's go ahead and submit this. I am very curious to know what concepts it thinks I learned. Watch it say nullables. Oh, here we go. It's just date times. Okay, well, we clearly use date times, so I think that's fine. Okay, well, that took me, what time are we at? We're at 1 hour and 21 minutes. We're going to see how little I can get the amount of time down to when I make this video. Boy, that's a long time. I clearly have a long way to go before I am naturally typing C# quickly and efficiently and not having to refactor constantly. I think that's probably how I will just be forever, because that's kind of how I live life. Even my sentences are spoken in iterations. I start and I go, wait, no, that's not how I want to say that. I will see you next time when I continue C# learning. Thanks for watching.